Here's my 2007 Chrysler Crossfire. It's been sitting over the winter. When I came out to run it to make sure the battery is charged and make sure all the fluids and gas was still good, I could smell a particular smell. I couldn't put my finger on it, so I looked at the hood and saw a little bit of smoke coming out of it. It wasn't rolling smoke or anything, just had a little bit of it. And I noticed that it was leaking down at the corner of the valve gasket down here. So went to the local auto store, bought a new valve gasket kit. Nice thing is the valve gaskets for these cars are made of rubber. Don't have to mess with silicone or anything. You just simply pop out the old one, put in the new one, you're good to go, they said. So I'm going to show you how to take apart the engine to get to the valve gasket. I already searched YouTube. There's nobody that has a video on the Crossfire. They do have. So the first thing I'm going to do is take apart the air cleaner. It has two air channels on the left and right. And then this is just the plastic cover that has the filters in it. It just pulls straight up, like so. Show you the two air filters. One filter in here and one filter in here. Kind of nice design, easy, a little more costly. I think the K&N filters are like 60 bucks each. So you got about 120 for a pair. You can also do cold air intake if you want to upgrade the motor to that, but we're just going to simply work on what we have the issue with today and not mess with all that. Okay, now that I can see the valve cover, I see it's got a specially type bolt holding it in. It's like a star-shaped bolt. I'm not sure that I have that. I'll have to look and see. Or maybe run to the auto parts store again and get a new socket so I can take it apart. Well, we need to take the two hoses off that I can see currently. We'll have to take those apart. And then also there are 6, I would call them spark plugs, but I know that's not what they're calling the newer cars, but there's 6 of those, 2 to each valve, and we're going to have to make sure we label them before we take them apart so we don't have any issues, and then take them apart and get them out of the way. So I ended up going to the local auto parts store, and I had to pick up an 8mm 12-point socket to fit on these star bolts that are holding the valve cover on. So 12-point 8mm socket is the correct tool to use on your star bolts that are holding that valve cover on. Okay, first thing we're going to do is take off these 2 vacuum lines. I'm just using a flathead screwdriver to loosen them up and to pop them off. Okay, next I'm going to get some tape and label each one of the wires going into the valve cover. There's 6 of them, so I'm going to label 1 through 6. And then there's 3 connecting wires up here. I'll label those 1, 2, and 3. Okay, instead of labeling them 1 through 6, because there's a top and a bottom to each bank, I just labeled it T on a piece of masking tape, and then these just simply pop. You just push them with your finger, a little bit of working. I got this one loose already. You can pop it down and it'll be out of your way. And we'll do that for all 6 of them. I'll label them top and bottom, and then I'll know which one they go to by where they are in sequence. So I'm just going to keep on working. Alright, next I have my T30 star bit. Maybe hard to see. Trying to get better light. There you go. T30 star bit. We're going to take apart 3 modules on top of the valve cover. Make sure we don't overdo it. This one's at a weird angle. Heat shield's kind of in the way on this one. I have to switch to a different setup. Alright, got it. Alright, so we got all 3 of those disconnected. Pull the screws out so I don't lose them. Hard to do this one-handed. I'm just going to move them up out of the way so they're away from the valve but still attached. I haven't disconnected the electrical wires or any of that. I just want them out of the way. You can see my can't remember what the name of these things are. I keep calling them spark plugs, but no, that's not what they are. I got T, B, and this one says T2, B2, T3, and B3. So I have them all labeled so I don't forget which one goes where. I'll finish moving these and be right back on the next step. As you can see, I labeled each one 1, 2, and 3, although I believe there's only one way they'll go back on. You can see all the sockets sticking there. We're not going to remove those. I'm just going to leave them like that. That's out of the way good enough. Next, we're going to go to the 8mm 12-point socket I bought today and take apart all the bolts that are holding the valve cover onto the block. We are not going to remove this black wire or cable that you see running across, because if you follow it, it goes into the master cylinder, and I don't want to be messing with brake lines and stuff like that. So we're going to make sure we're careful with all of our wires and cables that we don't have to remove too much. Curious to see how the valve cap, what's underneath it, if there's a tube or what we have to mess with on this side that won't be on our other side. But could be a mess on this side. These little rubber gomlets here, that's what holds the air cleaner on top of the motor that I removed earlier. That's how it actually clips on. There's 4 clips, 2 on each side. So we'll be careful not to mess with those. Yeah, so we'll take all the bolts, pull the valve on. So here are the bolts that I removed from the valve cover. 3 longer ones are in the middle, and the other 6 go around the edges. So I have the valve cover completely undone from the block. Should just be ready to pop out. I don't see any more bolts holding it in. So I'll be ready to remove it here in a second. Just can't figure out. Yeah, that's what I worry. I don't know what they go to. And they're stiff.
Plastic.
If we don't need to take it off, it's fine. There it is. Alright, so there's the old gasket. Should be bad down at that corner where it was leaking. Not bad. Sweet. Well, gotta get the clamps on. Sweet. Alright. Gotta start with number 3. And this has to go on first before we screw it on. Because I couldn't get it off with it on. So I unscrew it.
So which one's top?
One that says top. T.
Oh, okay.
This is bottom. Top. Bottom. Top. Bottom. Top. There you go. Man, they pop in a lot easier than they pop out.
Oh, I've just done a bunch of them.
Yeah, I got them marked. You can take the tape off bottom too. So this is the bottom. You can rip it off. That should be the bottom. Yeah, this is top.
Fucking 12 spark plugs on a goddamn B6.
I know. Well, they're not spark plugs, are they? They're called something else, right?
They're spark plugs.
Are they really spark plugs? Yeah. I was calling them by the right name all along. I thought I was calling them. That's this thing. It's back there. Finished. Spark, fuel. Oh yeah, whatever that thing is. What'd you say that was?
Evap solenoid.
And there you have it. New valve gasket. No leaks, no burning oil smell, no smoke. Like I said, it was leaking right here earlier before we switched out the gasket. And now we don't have any leaks, no issues, so you can call it a wrap. So you can repeat it on the other side, same exact steps. Thanks for watching. As always, like and subscribe.